It began as nothing more than a faint flicker, a curious blip on the instruments of the SH spacecraft, so insignificant that the crew hardly paid it any attention. Space is full of oddities, flashes of light, drifting debris, signals that amount to nothing. At first, this seemed no different, but then something unexpected happened. An image arrived, not from a billion-dollar space observatory or a government satellite, but from an ordinary backyard telescope in Australia. The picture was captured by Michael Mattiato, a dedicated comet enthusiast, and what he saw was so extraordinary that even the experts at NASA were left speechless. Out of the vast blackness, an unfamiliar presence emerged, making its way toward the blazing heart of our solar system. It wasn't a speck of rock or a streak of ice like the many comets we've cataloged before. This was something far more spectacular, a glowing, tailed body so immense that its span stretched across the heavens, 5 times the width of the full moon as seen from Earth. In an instant, the once hyped trio of Atlas comets faded into irrelevance. All attention turned toward this new visitor, a cosmic spectacle brighter, larger, and more unsettling than anything humanity had ever recorded. It was given a name, C/2025R2 Swan, but even with a name, its nature remained a mystery. Unlike the familiar comets and asteroids that streak through our skies, Swan refused to follow the usual rules. It behaved differently, defying the pattern scientists had come to expect. It pulsed with structured bursts of energy, radiating light in deliberate, repeating rhythms as though it were communicating. Its trajectory seemed purposeful, almost as if it were navigating by design rather than by the blind laws of gravity. More perplexing still, it appeared to adhere to a schedule, a timetable written in the language of the cosmos, one that no one on Earth yet understood. What began as a trivial anomaly now threatened to rewrite everything we thought we knew about space. C/2025R2 Swan was not just another celestial traveler, it was something far greater and perhaps far more deliberate than anyone had dared to imagine. The James Webb Space Telescope was turned toward this colossal, mysterious presence in an attempt to uncover its true nature, and what it revealed shattered everything astronomers believed they knew. This wasn't a fragment of rock or a drifting chunk of ice as many had suspected. It was something far more extraordinary. It was a machine, precise and deliberate, built with an intelligence that no natural object could ever possess. The first official sighting of Swan R2 on September 12, 2025 left the global astronomy community in a state of disbelief. Observations made with the SWN instrument aboard the SH spacecraft confirmed that the object was not only moving with astonishing precision, but was also radiating a brilliance unlike anything ever cataloged before. Only 48 hours later, the mystery deepened. An image captured by amateur astronomer Michael Mattiaso revealed a spectacle that defied all expectations. A massive tail stretching an incredible 2.5 degrees across the sky, the visual equivalent of 5 full moons lined up side by side. It was far larger and more impressive than the tails produced by known comets such as Atlas, and it immediately became the focal point of intense scientific scrutiny. Researchers around the world raced to study this cosmic enigma, desperate to understand how such a structure could exist and what it might mean. The International Astronomical Union quickly stepped in to try to categorize this new discovery, but naming it was the easy part. The real challenge lay in deciphering its true identity. This was no ordinary icy wanderer swept along by solar gravity. Swan R2 was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Its structure, behavior, and movement differed drastically from those of traditional comets like 3A Atlas. Whereas Atlas displayed chaotic, jet-like bursts of gas and dust, Swan R2 generated a vast, shimmering shield of plasma, a kind of energy field that actively responded to the solar wind, redirecting and reshaping it in real time. This was not frozen vapor sublimating into space. This was technology, a functional defense system designed with purpose and precision. Even its trajectory raised unsettling questions. Swan R2 was not following the typical path of a transient visitor swinging by the sun on a one-time journey. Instead, its orbit revealed a pattern, a loop that would bring it back repeatedly over an immense cycle lasting 22,554 years. This means it has likely returned many times before, long before recorded history, possibly even influencing ancient myths and observations. Now, for the first time, humanity was seeing it for what it truly is, a manufactured object engineered to endure the ages, patiently returning to the heart of our solar system on a timetable older than civilization itself. This raised serious doubts because nothing in space space moves with such precision unless it's deliberately built to. As Swan R2 approached the sun, the James Webb Telescope focused its powerful light analysis instruments on it, and what they revealed broke every known rule of astronomy. The spectral data showed that the object was composed of a nickel-cobalt alloy, an extremely dense engineered material that does not occur naturally but is often proposed for advanced technological construction. Even more alarming was the detection of plasma being released in a controlled, rhythmic pattern, completely different from the chaotic bursts of gas seen in ordinary comets. Its tail wasn't made of water vapor at all. It was exhaust, thick, regulated, and chemically specific, containing carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and significant amounts of charged nickel plasma. These emissions weren't random. They were precise bursts of power, tiny course adjustments, and shifts in color from red to white-green as it accelerated. Nature doesn't behave this way. This was evidence of a plasma propulsion system changing its burn phase. The James Webb Telescope confirmed what many had begun to fear. Swan 2 was generating energy. At its core, it was producing more than 10,000 gigawatts every second, a staggering amount of power, equivalent to the energy released when two black holes collide, all contained within a single vessel. And as it continued its approach toward the sun, another mystery emerged. Its path was no accident. The trajectory had been precisely calculated to intersect with 3I Atlas almost simultaneously in October 2025, a timing so unlikely that it defied chance. Swan R2 originated from Aquarius, while 3I Atlas came from Sagittarius. Yet their meeting seemed planned. They originated in completely different regions and followed separate paths through space, yet now they are drawing nearer, closing the distance to within just 50 million kilometers and moving closer with each passing day. What are the odds of that happening by chance? Two objects from distant star systems, traveling in opposite directions, converging behind the sun, hidden from Earth's view. It seems too precise to be random. Many believe Swan R2 was deliberately sent to intercept 3 Atlas, possibly to retrieve it, destroy it, or establish contact. Others suspect both objects might be components of a larger coordinated system, one designed to observe over immense spans of time. If that's the case, the sun is more than just a star they happen to pass. It's a focal point, a beacon, a gateway, and these probes, these engineered machines, could be responding to something humanity has done, perhaps our signals, our expanding technology, or simply because a specific moment in their timeline has arrived. The mystery deepens with even more intriguing theories. Thinkers like Graham Hancock propose that Swan R2 may have approached Earth before, around 22,000 years ago, coinciding with the end of the last ice age. That period also marks the beginning of humanity's construction of massive monuments, celestial maps, and pyramids aligned with Orion, Aquarius, and the sun's path, as if inspired by something far beyond our world. Did ancient people know about Swan R2's path? Were early civilizations trying to warn us of its return? Some believe that might be the case. The precision of ancient structures like the Great Pyramid, Göbekli Tepe, and the Mayan calendar suggests that they understood cosmic cycles we are only beginning to grasp. If Swan R2 has come back, then many of our ancient myths could actually be distant memories of the last time it passed near Earth. And maybe this time, we won't just watch it drift by. We could become part of whatever comes next. Soon after the James Webb team released a brief summary of their findings on Swan R2, agencies and organizations began retracting statements. NASA quietly removed key data from its websites. The European Space Agency issued a vague message describing Swan R2 as unusual, but still normal. China's National Astronomical Observatory claimed that their instruments were undergoing maintenance. The sudden silence raised more questions than answers. According to an anonymous source at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, several organizations were informed about a confidential report circulating among the Five Eyes nations. This document described strange technological characteristics that didn't match any natural phenomenon. It referenced unusual movements, a perfectly balanced structure hidden beneath the surrounding haze, and shifting signal patterns that strongly suggested deliberate control, as if someone, somewhere, was guiding Swan R2's path. It's becoming clear that Swan R2 might not be a comet at all, and someone could be trying to keep that truth hidden. The sudden absence of reliable information only fueled more speculation, especially after NASA quietly adjusted Voyager 1's antenna to point toward the region of space where Swan R2 was expected to pass. Why make that change? What were they hoping to detect on or perhaps transmit? As Swan R2 moved closer to the sun, powerful radio arrays in Chile and South Korea, typically used to search for extraterrestrial signals, began picking up a faint emission coming from the cloud of gas trailing behind it. At first, scientists dismissed it as background interference caused by magnetic activity, but a deeper analysis revealed something far more unsettling. The signal wasn't random noise. It carried a deliberate structure, repeating in a stable rhythm, and the intervals between pulses followed the Fibonacci sequence, a fundamental pattern woven into nature itself. This wasn't the chaotic decay of a dying comet. It was intentional, and it suggested something far more profound, a transmission, or possibly even a form of communication. Even more unsettling was the fact that the gaps between the signals were shrinking. It was as if something was counting down. The final transmission, labeled Burst 8 by the Alien Signal Monitoring Program, showed a sudden and powerful surge. A spike of energy comparable to a solar flare, yet it originated from deep space. It seemed clear the object wasn't just transmitting, it was preparing for something. In response, several military space agencies quietly activated contingency plans. The US Air Force's Space Command repositioned a number of classified surveillance satellites into new orbits. Russia abruptly launched a rocket from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, its payload undisclosed but clearly headed toward an orbital path aligned with China and Earth's trajectory around the sun. Satellite data also revealed clusters of small satellites shifting course to form a net-like formation over Earth's northern hemisphere. What triggered this sudden global reaction? According to leaked intelligence from the French Defense Ministry, multiple nations now suspect Swan R2 could pose a significant threat on its own. It might not function as a weapon, but its proximity to the sun could potentially trigger a chain of unpredictable events. Some analysts theorize it could act as a connector, a tool capable of manipulating gravity, or even a mechanism designed to activate something hidden within the sun's magnetic field. Attempts to launch reconnaissance probes reportedly failed, unable to match Swan R2's trajectory and overcome the intense heat near the sun. But the most unsettling revelation came from a recently uncovered conversation between two retired engineers from the Deep Space Network. They claimed Voyager 1 wasn't designed solely to leave the solar system. It was also meant to monitor anything entering it. As the James Webb Telescope continued to examine Swan R2's structure, scientists noticed something extraordinary. Beneath the glowing cloud and electromagnetic tail, there was symmetry. Lines radiating outward from a central point, repeating geometric patterns that diminished in size, and ring-like formations echoing the same mathematical sequence found in the signals. In simple terms, the object showed evidence of deliberate construction. Measurements of reflected light revealed consistent dips, similar to those seen when planets transit stars, pointing to a layered, manufactured surface. Data suggested multiple segments reinforced with metallic frameworks and possibly shielded against extreme heat. Even more alarming, certain scans indicated hollow regions resembling empty chambers or power conduits. Despite its size, Swan R2 was not a solid mass. It appeared to be engineered for maximum efficiency, possibly to travel across interstellar space, harvest energy from stars, or even carry something within. No natural object, not a comet, asteroid, or fragment of debris, has ever displayed such characteristics. And that leaves one deeply unsettling question: who created it? As Swan R2 raced past Mercury, scientists anticipated it would briefly vanish behind the sun before re-emerging days later. But instead of reappearing, it vanished completely. Telescopes were expected to spot it again by mid-October, but nothing appeared. There was no trace, no cloud, no path, no signal. For nearly a week, Swan R2 had simply vanished. Its presence was only confirmed again when a solar observatory in Chile, scanning in ultraviolet light, detected a sudden burst of intense radiation. But Swan R2 wasn't where it was supposed to be. It had reappeared hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from its predicted position, now heading toward the sun's south pole, a region where magnetic fields twist and fold unpredictably. Why would a comet abruptly alter its course and dive into an area known for strange gravitational effects? Some scientists speculated it might have used gravity for acceleration, but others suspected something far stranger had occurred. Swan R2 had entered a poorly understood region of the sun, a place some theorized could conceal a gateway to another dimension. The unsettling question was whether it had done so intentionally. At precisely 3:03 UTC on October 17th, as it passed closest to the sun's magnetic arc, space weather instruments detected a sudden gamma ray burst. This wasn't from a distant galaxy. It originated within our own solar system. The burst lasted just 0.7 seconds, but released more energy than the sun emits in 2 full days. Nothing like it had ever been recorded before. Even more disturbing was its trajectory. Unlike solar flares that expand outward in all directions, this gamma burst shot in a straight, narrow path, as if it had a target. It passed directly through Earth's orbital zone, disrupting satellite navigation and even interfering with deep-sea communication cables. And the situation was about to become even more unsettling. When scientists traced the origin of the gamma burst and compared it with Swan R2's last known trajectory, the two matched perfectly. This meant one of two things. Either something within the object had absorbed energy from the sun and released it deliberately, or it had somehow manipulated the sun itself. In either case, this was no longer just about movement. It was evidence of control. Once Swan R2 emerged again from behind the sun, both SETI and NASA's Deep Space Network reported that it had resumed transmitting signals. But this time, they were very different. Instead of short pulses, it was now emitting a spiral-shaped wave that shifted across a wide range of frequencies. When researchers analyzed the frequencies and their patterns, they discovered something deeply unsettling. The wave closely resembled the movement of Earth's tectonic plates, almost as if Swan R2 were mimicking the planet, or attempting to communicate using its natural rhythms. One of the frequencies aligned with the Schumann resonance, a natural electromagnetic vibration believed to influence human brain activity. Another mirrored the Morse code-like signals once sent by the Voyager probes. Was Swan R2 trying to communicate with Earth or with Voyager? And if so, who was the intended recipient? Humanity, or something else entirely? Shortly after this change in the transmission, NASA quietly updated the official Voyager mission logs. Voyager 1 unexpectedly shifted its orientation without any command from Earth, something it's not designed to do. According to the mission logs, the spacecraft rotated its main antenna by 2.4 degrees west, directly towards Swan R2's location. This is where things became truly strange. Voyager 1 is far beyond the solar system, deep in interstellar space, and shouldn't be capable of detecting or responding to anything happening within our planetary neighborhood. Yet somehow, it detected Swan R2. Even more unsettling, the timing of its movement aligned perfectly with the moment the gamma ray burst was recorded. It was as if Voyager sensed the energy and instinctively reacted to it. Engineers at JPL were baffled. The spacecraft hasn't received a software update in decades, and it has no artificial intelligence or automated systems designed to respond to external signals. Still, it behaved as though it had. Some scientists believe Swan R2 may have sent a specific message intended for Voyager, perhaps recognizing it as a product of intelligent life. Others fear a darker possibility, that Voyager was contacted and responded, revealing our presence to something far beyond our solar system. As Swan R2 continued its journey outward, the Galileo spacecraft observed a peculiar phenomenon, an eclipse-like shadow passing over Europa, one of Jupiter's potentially habitable moons. But this wasn't a typical eclipse. It lasted far longer than expected and moved in a direction opposite to Swan R2's predicted trajectory. Spectral analysis revealed the shadow wasn't caused by simple light blockage. Instead, it was an interference pattern, similar to the effect produced when powerful waves interact. Scientists began to theorize that Swan R2 might be employing gravitational lensing or field projection, bending light itself as a method of propulsion or concealment. This was a major revelation. It meant we weren't just watching an object pass through space. We were witnessing something capable of altering the very physics around it. Countless theories began to emerge. Was it shielding itself from some unknown force? Was it scanning Europa's icy surface in search of something buried beneath? Or, more unsettling, was it activating something? During a brief window, when visibility was clear, the James Webb Telescope's NIR camera captured an image that revealed something no comet should contain. Hidden deep within the swirling gas around Swan R2, a perfectly spherical object appeared for just 0.37 seconds before vanishing again. That fleeting glimpse was enough to confirm it wasn't ice or rock. The surface was smooth, metallic, and emitted infrared radiation at a temperature too stable to occur naturally. Even more disturbing was a feature experts began referring to as an iris, a dark central point surrounded by a defined ring resembling an artificial eye. The image ignited widespread speculation online. Was it a sensor, a camera, a receiver, or or perhaps even something alive within the machine itself. Specialists in bio-inspired engineering noted that its design closely resembled deep-sea organisms capable of seeing in complete darkness. Could this eye be built to perceive wavelengths of light beyond our comprehension? Or worse, to observe us directly? Just as speculation reached its peak, a team of researchers at MIT published a groundbreaking analysis of Swan R2's signals. What they found was nothing short of astonishing. Some of Swan R2's signal frequencies matched those once used by Earth's early satellite systems, particularly the communication patterns from the Cold War era Project Echo satellites. This was deeply unsettling, and it suggested that Swan R2 might be imitating our signals to communicate with us, or that it had been listening to our transmissions for decades and was now responding in our own radio language. Even more alarming, one of the frequencies matched the famous WOW signal from 1977, chosen precisely because it was thought to be an ideal, quiet frequency for interstellar communication. If Swan R2 is deliberately using Earth's signal patterns, it could mean that whoever created it, or sent it, has been waiting for us to reach a certain level of understanding, not to send a message to us, but to deliver one we were never meant to intercept until we were capable of decoding it. A major breakthrough followed from an unexpected collaboration between astrophysicists and AI researchers. They used a deep learning system designed to detect hidden patterns in complex data to analyze Swan R2's transmission. The result was a 3D spatial map, not of Swan R2 itself, but of a region of distant space. The coordinates pointed to an otherwise unremarkable area near the Lyra constellation, but when radio telescopes focused on that location, they detected a faint echo of Swan R2's original signal, reflecting back as if from another source or a relay station. When this mysterious point was compared with previous exoplanet surveys, it corresponded to an empty region of space. Yet mathematically, the energy field in that area resembled what would be expected from a concealed Dyson sphere. This led to a chilling possibility. Swan R2 might not just be a probe, it could be a beacon, a guide pointing the way home, or to something deliberately hiding in the dark. Whatever Swan R2 is, it's not alone. It's part of something larger, and now Earth has become part of that network. For decades, we've searched the cosmos, sending signals and waiting for a reply. But what if the silence we assumed was empty space had actually been observing us the entire time? What if every message we broadcast, and from Voyager's golden record to the famous WOW signal, wasn't ignored, but recorded and stored? Swan R2 is not just an object drifting through the void. It isn't a random anomaly or an accident. It's a sign, an observer, a catalyst. Its perfect structure, its deliberate control of signals, the sudden gamma ray burst, and its imitation of Earth's old satellite transmissions all point to a single conclusion. It was intentionally created, and if that's true, then this enormous sphere isn't merely passing through our solar system. It's navigating territory it already knows. The sun was its chosen route, the signals were its way of announcing its presence, and now we've answered, or perhaps more unsettling, it answered itself. And that leads to the most important question of all. If Swan R2 is this large and complex, what built it? And if its creators are out there listening, maybe we're not preparing for a future encounter. Maybe the encounter has already happened, and we failed to recognize it because the signs were hidden in plain sight.